Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bender and Dash Paulson to discuss a new Smash Bros Newcomer coming on Monday. So let's get started. Alright guys, so after Derek and I recorded our Smash discussion last night, brand new news came out from Sakurai that they're announcing a newcomer, a new challenger, on Monday via live stream on the official Smash Bros site. Now the big question is, who is this going to be? So yeah, do you guys have any ideas?
I think everybody has come to the same conclusion at this point, mainly because Monolith Soft retweeted this news, and the last time that happened, usually when Sakurai announces something and some other developer retweets it, usually means their character is going to show up. So right. I think the Gematsu leak might be accurate once again, and we'll be getting Shulk.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Shulk. I think everything points to that. And that is, one of the 3 remaining characters in the Gematsu League, which, at this point, is looking pretty much like gospel. I mean, I know there are quite a few people who probably aren't happy with that and who are hoping for more newcomers, but at this point, I think it's pretty much the writing's on the wall. Yeah,
I mean, I think it definitely is. I mean, particularly with Palutena and Pac-Man, being recently announced as part of that. Everything he has said has come true. So far, so I've from day one, I'm like, this seems to be a believable leak.
Yeah.
Or since we started talking about it, and I think that's even more the case now. They'll watch the complete blindside us with some random character on Monday.
That's true.
It is possible, since he did not predict Rosalina, so he's not 100% accurate as far as like naming everything. So we might get blindsided, but. Yeah, all the signs point to Shulk.
That entirely is true, and maybe we'll talk about that very soon. But even though we've talked about Shulk before and given our ideas, let's just give quick. Let's just talk about him again real quick. How excited will you be if they do in fact announce Shulk as being a Smash Bros character on Monday?
I'll be perfectly excited. I mean, I haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles. I had some issues with the gameplay, but I like Shulk as a character, and I think his weapon's really cool. I love the Monado, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's implemented into Smash. Mm-hmm. So he was definitely kind of on my list of most wanted newcomers, just as a general. I think he's a neat character with a really awesome weapon. So he's always been kind of on my wanted list, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's very, he's sort of traditional in the fact that he's just another guy with a sword, but the powers that he gets from that sword will make him very unique in my mind, at least the way I'm kind of imagining him, because I didn't get far in Xenoblade Chronicles, but I love what he represents. Mm-hmm. This sort of smaller game that had trouble releasing internationally got enough love for it that it became a newcomer in Smash Brothers. That's kind of a heartwarming story.
That's true, actually. I hadn't thought of it like that. That's actually really cool.
The underdog. Yeah. Now, so even though we think it probably is Shulk, is there anyone else you think it could be on Monday, Shulk aside?
I think I keep hearing people say this just because we have a starter in the form of Greninja, we have a starter in the form of Charizard, and we got that represents fire and water. A lot of people think we're going to get Sceptile as a third Pokemon just to cover the grass type, since it's highly unlikely that we're going to get Squirtle and Ivysaur back. So maybe Sceptile could pop up in there too, and that would be a little, out of nowhere, but I could see it happening, and I wouldn't mind it. I kind of like Sceptile. He's a very different kind of grass starter, and I don't know. I just have a lot of fun with him, so I'd be totally down with him showing up.
Right.
I would actually be okay with Sceptile too. I mean, unfortunately, at this point, I don't really think it could be anyone else other than possibly Sceptile. Maybe Mewtwo, if they're going to give Mewtwo his own, trailer as kind of a pseudo newcomer since he wasn't in Brawl. But other than that, if it's not Mewtwo or Sceptile, I think it's more likely either going to be one of the 3 remaining Gematsu characters, which is Shulk, Chrom, or the Chorus Kids.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I would be thrilled. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure the Chorus Kids are in anyway, but I'd just like to see them first because that's who I'm most hyped for the remaining newcomers. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, they would definitely be, I mean, they would be the most different of not just these three, but almost the entire Smash roster.
Exactly.
Assuming assuming it is based on all three of the kids, as opposed to, say, Marshall, or, one of the other similar-looking ones.
Right.
But the Gematsu, like I think has always said, the chorus men or kids.
Yeah.
So I am hoping they do that, but that could be a very, very interesting character, especially to tie in, rhythm elements.
Yeah, I've been wanting Rhythm Heaven to be represented at Smash Brothers for a long time now, so I'm super hyped about that.
Yeah, I mean, at the least, if we don't get a character, I think we'd get a stage, but...
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up Mewtwo, Ash, because with Greninja's reveal, they sort of used him as a they sort of used him as a backdoor to also introduce Charizard as a veteran. So if they introduce Sceptile, they could do the same thing with Mewtwo, where hey, here's Sceptile, also Mewtwo's back, and that sort of thing, and just we'll get a veteran and a newcomer at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I mean, there you have a huge list of characters in Brawl that we don't know about yet, and it would make sense to pair it off with another one. They have a lot more characters to get through, and they're still, we are getting pretty close to Smash Bros 3DS's release date.
Yeah.
So assuming most of these characters are coming back, they are going to have to start, getting on that soon, unless they're just going to keep them hidden until launch, which I don't think they do.
I mean, they did that with Brawl, so it wouldn't be completely unprecedented for Sakurai to keep.
Not this many characters, though. I don't.
That's
think,
true.
right?
Not this many. Yeah, I mean, we might get a few veterans hidden, until launch, like Jigglypuff possibly or Captain Falcon. But I do feel like we'll get a few more veteran reveals before launch at least.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a safe bet, and we'll get more into that in just a little bit too. But there's something else Sakurai said here that is kind of interesting, and it's not exactly great news, per se. And that is that Sakurai says, and I quote, "Looks like we're nearing the bottom of the stash of new Challenger videos that we've made. Like always, we put a lot of effort into it, so I hope you'll enjoy watching it live." So, I mean, this seems to be pretty clear to me. I don't think there's any other way to interpret this. And that is, unless it specifically means that they actually ran out of videos, but they could make more videos for other newcomers. But it really does sound like to me that we are nearing the end of the newcomers coming to Smash.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we knew this had to come, obviously. But it's a little bit sad, like knowing that we know about most of the new characters so far. And if we go off the Gematsu leak, that really leaves, at least two more characters, perhaps only two more characters beyond what's coming on Monday.
Right.
3 in total now. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think it had to happen sometime. I mean, well, we already have a lot of newcomers, and the end had to come sometime. And I think the list of newcomers that we have in Smash Bros 4 is really the best list of newcomers we've ever seen in the series. So I'm really happy with where we are right now. And, I figured, hey, we're already at 33 characters, 35 with the Mii Fighters. I mean, I figured we're already near Brawl's starting roster size. Right. Or, sorry, final roster size. So, I figured the writing's on the wall. The end's got to come sometime. And personally, I'm very happy with where we are in terms of characters. Especially the newcomers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement there. I mean, of course, there's always more that you'd love to see. There's people out there who champion certain characters that they'd love to see in the game and haven't been revealed yet, and the Gematsu isn't there to support that theory. And as we said before, they could still pop up because the Gematsu hasn't said every single newcomer. But it has been so accurate that it's hard to imagine him missing one or two. So, I mean, yeah, there's more I'd love to see and put in there, but from what we've gotten so far, this has been an excellent list. Some of the characters I've really wanted to get in there have gotten in there, like Palutena, Pac-Man, Mega Man. These are great additions. And it's just really solid list, and from a lot of different franchises too. Mm-hmm. Like it's really done a great job of getting some new playstyles out there and new franchises, and kind of expanding beyond what we feared to be limited IPs from this point. And Sakurai found a way to get more current and new IPs into the game, even if we didn't expect them in that way.
Yep, I totally agree. I granted I'm greedy, so I always wish for more newcomers, especially because it seems like this could be the least amount of newcomers we've gotten in a Smash Brothers game. Because Melee had 14, Brawl had 18, and right now we know about 10 if you count Mondays, and 12 if we assume the Gematsu leak to be accurate, and technically 14 if we count all the Miis. But I don't think that, like, I don't think that's entirely the best way to do it. But you know, with that said, the new characters are awesome. They really are going all out with them from what we've seen. And when you add it to the already, pretty stellar list of characters, plus the other veterans they could bring back, I think it's looking like a very solid, super solid roster. Now, speaking of which, so as one of you mentioned, we know about 33 characters right now for sure. And so I was thinking, how many characters could this game have in total? So we actually put together a bit of a little bit of a Frankenstein document before this discussion to figure out, how many we're up to for sure and how many there could be. So yeah, we know about 33 for sure. 35 if you count all the variants of the Mii. 36 characters if you count, the Monday character we now know is coming. If you add the Gematsu League, that brings it up to 38. Now if you add every Brawl veteran, if you assume all the Brawl characters are coming back, that takes it up to 52. Now, I don't think they're all coming back.
No.
And, for a few reasons, which we'll get into. So for instance, I'm pretty sure Snake's not coming back. I think we're all in agreement that Squirtle, and Ivysaur are probably the least likely to come back as well. That brings us down to 49. And then Ash, I think you reminded me that according to the third Gematsu leak, Lucas was in discussion to not come back as well, which would drop us down to 48 if that's the case. Now that again is assuming all the other newcomers, or sorry, all the other Brawl characters come back, which I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but it's looking like it might be. So that is a pretty sizable roster. If we're looking at 48 characters, give or take a few, around 50 in other words.
Basically, yeah, and we also have to account for possibly Mewtwo as a kind of pseudo veteran.
Right.
So that's it seems possible that he'd come back because he's a fan favorite.
That's true. So that'll bring us back up to 49, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, this is assuming when we add the Gematsu characters, this is assuming that Shulk is the newcomer on Monday.
Oh, right. That's true. If it's actually wouldn't that be crazy if it's not? If it's not, then that'll bring us up to 50, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Assuming our fuzzy math here is accurate.
Of course, we don't actually know what Sakurai meant by we're nearing the bottom of the stack. I mean, that's pretty vague. And what if the Gematsu leak is wrong? What if we're nearing the bottom of the stack means Monday's character is the last newcomer? We don't know that.
That's true.
I mean, so far the Gematsu leak seems to be completely accurate. So there's no real reason to doubt it. But It is a pretty vague way to say that, like we're nearing the bottom of the stack.
Well, I do think, given the context, I think it will mean there's at least one more newcomer in addition to Monday.
Okay.
I don't think he would word it that way if Mondays is a new one. Like, it seems weird that we're nearing the bottom of the stack. So I think there'll be at least one new one. But you're right. I mean, it could be there's fewer than we think. Although I think we all agree that Gematsu seems to be the most likely.
Yeah,
thing
there's no reason to doubt it.
Right. But it's it's entirely possible. So I think that pretty much covers everything we can talk about here. We do think it's going to be Shulk, but let's ignore the Gematsu leak entirely. Is there anyone else you guys would hope for to see on Monday that's not part of that leak?
I think probably the last two characters that I had kind of been hoping for over the course of this whole Smash Brothers character reveal deal is probably either Dixie Kong or Krystal. Because I like the idea that more female characters should join in the roster, and we already have a lot more. But I've always thought Dixie Kong is a lot of fun. She's just a fun character, and I think there are things that could have been done with her moveset that could have differentiated her from Diddy. And also, she was supposed to be she was one of the planned characters for Brawl, who was cut actually. So
right,
I always kind of wanted to see her make her long-awaited appearance. And also Krystal, I know there's of course the whole furry part of the fandom that that there's a dark side to the people who want her in Smash, but I just think she'd be a lot more fun a third Star Fox character than Wolf ever would have been, just because.
You know what? I mean, my knee-jerk reaction is, I don't want Krystal in the games, but I don't think she's a good character.
Right.
But when you put it in that context, that she would be more interesting than another Star Fox-like character.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that. So I do think she could be pretty interesting.
She's got her staff. She's got her telepathic powers. I mean, they could design a much different moveset for her as a Star Fox character than Fox, Falco, and Wolf.
Yeah, I guess we don't really have a staff character yet at all, have we?
No, we don't.
Yeah, that could be interesting, actually. So.
But yeah, but I mean, at this point, I've made my peace with the fact that they're almost certainly not going to be in, which is, I've gotten so many newcomers that were at the top of my list, I can't complain.
And that's pretty much the same for me. I mean, I'm trying to come up with characters I would like to see. Basically, other characters from franchises that don't have enough that could use a little bit more representation, like another some other F-Zero character or another Earthbound character that isn't that doesn't play exactly like Ness, or variations like that where you got all these other characters who could potentially play differently from the main character, sort of like how we have Pit, but then we also could get Palutena. And I guess you could sort of, then of course they got people out there who want King K. Rool and Ridley, and I have no problem with either of those two showing up. So that's the great thing, is that there's a lot of different characters that could work. But like Ash, I've sort of made my peace that this is the newcomers that we're set with,
right,
plus the Gematsu leak, and it's hard to factor that out anymore, because I think I was the most skeptical when we had our initial discussion about that, and every one of it's come true, and it's like, well, I'm sort of reserved to the fact that it probably is accurate at this point.
There's still always a chance he just got lucky, extremely lucky, and that's not accurate at all. But it does seem to be the case, particularly with Sakurai noting we're near the bottom of the barrel. And that it would be the case going off this leak as well. So it's all kind of making sense. But I even though I do think Shulk makes sense, I think that'd be a great addition. I kind of want to be surprised too, right? Like, it'd be awesome if we're just completely blindsided on Monday by, of course, Captain N.
That would be pretty fantastic.
Well, that's the kind of the shame of the Gematsu leak, though, is because he kind of spoiled it for us. So how getting Shulk out of nowhere would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But because of that leak, we can't. Who would have predicted that?
I mean, that is a really good point, actually. I mean, ultimately, like, it won't matter that much once we all have a game. But yeah, the initial reveal, at least for me, I don't know how other people are going to feel about it. If it is Shulk, it's now fulfilling expectations as opposed to surprising us, and that's through no fault of the developer. There's nothing they could do. It's just, it's a little bit disappointing it happened that way, I suppose. But it gave us something to talk about in all these these past few months, I suppose. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like until around now, there was enough reason for. Well, there's enough reasonable doubt there. Yeah. I think that I was still pleasantly surprised, or at least even really surprised at each new character trailer. At this point, with 3 left, I do think the writing's on the wall, and like you said, we're fulfilling expectations at this point. But at least up to now, I've still been, I just feel like doubt is healthy, and even though it looked likely, it wasn't completely confirmed. So, when Little Mac was revealed, when Palutena was revealed, when Pac-Man was revealed, I was still super hyped and still, if not surprised, still really just like, okay, cool. I'm really happy to see these guys confirmed, at least. So, yeah. Yeah,
because it's not just to the character, it's how are they going to play, and what all are they going to do. And all that is still a mystery, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that is half the excitement. Like seeing Pac-Man, the unveil trailer for that was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am looking forward to this little event they have going on here. And we do know too, it's going to be a 3-minute trailer, by the way.
Right.
So plenty of time for them to slip in another veteran in there too, if that's what they're doing.
That's true.
Yep, plenty of time. All right. Well, I think that wraps up for our Smash Bros. Monday discussion, our pre-Monday discussion, if you will. But I'm sure we'll be back very soon with another one once we actually know what the character is for sure, followed by an analysis video and our usual stuff. So, thanks guys for watching, and if you liked our video, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.